Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy, and out in front of me today, I have an assortment of everyday carry items that you can make on any 3D printer that could make your life just a little bit easier as you go about your daily activities. And I'm going to go over each of these and just kind of show you how you can use them. Now, there are a wide variety of everyday carry slash EDC items that you can find on a lot of different sites that you can print, and they're different versions of pretty much everything that I'm going to show you here today. But the most important thing to know is that all of these are very small. I tried to find some nice small items that you can easily put into a pocket. It does not have a lot of bulk. These particular items don't require any kind of supports, and they also don't require much filament to print. And of course, depending on what you want to use these for, you need to choose the appropriate filament for the job. Now, just for these demonstration purposes, mostly everything that I have here was printed out of PLA. But if you're going to be spending some times outdoors in some heat and UV light or rain or anything like that in the elements, then you may want to consider a different type of filament to suit your needs. At least PETG or maybe some ABS, ASA, nylon, something like that, just to make sure that these items can hold up over time. All right, so let's get started. So let's start with something that's more on the safety side, whistles. So whistles can be a good deterrent in case you find yourself in a situation where you need to get the attention of some folks that are around you because somebody is acting a little bit too shady. And there are 3D printed options for that. Now, I've got two different types of whistles here. This one here looks like a traditional kind of a whistle. You know, it's got that sort of arched back sort of. It has a little opening here that you can clip to a key ring. And this is how it sounds. Now, I'm not sure if you could hear that too well because my audio software can just take away really loud sounds when I'm speaking. But this is the kind of whistle that it doesn't have like that vibrato sound like you would hear from a referee or a coach's whistle. It's really more of a loud pitch squeal. So it's not necessarily the traditional whistle sound, but it is loud enough to get somebody's attention and make them think what the heck is going on and make them turn their heads, which is the whole point of a whistle. But if this is just maybe a little bit too bulky for you, there's also a flat whistle, completely flat, that also does the same job. And this whistle sounds like this. Now, when I compare the flat whistle to this whistle, I really prefer the flat whistle because, well, it's flat. You can also attach it to a key ring and you can get a much more noticeable sound without putting in much effort. When it comes to this whistle, if I just blow a little bit of air in it, I can mostly just kind of hear air, but then as I blow harder, that's when the whistle tone comes out. But when it comes to this, I can just be real gentle and I can clearly hear the whistle sound. And if I really want to get crazy, whew, this is pretty darn loud. So my recommendation between this whistle and this whistle is definitely this flat whistle. I'll leave links in the description to as many of these so that I can still find. Hopefully they are all still available, but this flat whistle is definitely the one that I would pick. So next, something for your keys, something that you can have to keep your keys on your person and not necessarily stick it in your pocket if you don't want to. And that's where this comes in. Look how small this thing is. And like almost everything I'm going to show you, it can attach to a regular key ring. Of course it can. It's supposed to be for your keys. But then it has this little clip here. And with this little clip, you can just easily just put it right there on your pocket, or maybe even you can even keep it there on your waistband. And the way that this works is you just take some keys like I got here, and using this key ring, I'm just going to loop it through my keys. I can just take this and just stick it on my pocket, and now my keys are dangling from my pocket. And also, if you want to do the reverse, instead of just having them sit on the outside of your pocket, you could turn it around, stick the keys in your pocket, and then just use this to clip on the inside of your pants. So now you know that your keys are still going to be suspended and attached to this clip, but you can just kind of have them dangling inside of your pocket instead of just swaying all about on the outside. So yeah, this is a really easy and quick print for you to do a little something extra with your keys. So now this next piece here is for your phone. This is something that you can use so that you can keep your phone in landscape mode while sitting on the table so that you don't have to hold it up. So say you want to look at a video or something, that's what you would use this for. There are so many different types of phone stands that you can 3D print, but this is very small and it works. And it also has a little opening there so that you can attach this to your keys. Now, this particular model has different sizes. So if you need something that's a little bit deeper, a little bit longer, a little bit wider, there's different versions of it. But I'm going to be using this one in conjunction with my phone here. And I need to take my case off because this doesn't fit as well with my case on, but basically all that you do is just set your phone down, just like that. And, I'm looking at myself right now as I record this, but this is just a super easy way, and you can just reposition it in order to get the balance right. So for my phone, if I have it too far over to one side, then, it just goes that way. So if I want it to be perfectly balanced, you have to kind of mess with it a little bit to balance out the weight. But either way, it still keeps the phone in the position that you need for it to be. So if you're just sitting at a table somewhere and you just want to continue watching a video or something, this is how you can do it. Really simple and very effective. Fits on the key ring. I think that this is a great option for an everyday carry item. So this next thing is about shopping carts. So here in the United States, when you go to Aldi, you have to put a quarter into the cart in order to release it from the cart corral. And the whole purpose behind that is to make sure that people return their carts and don't just leave them in the parking lot. Because if you want that quarter back, you're going to put the cart back. So I know these days, we don't really carry around a bunch of change, and I do have a dedicated Aldi quarter, but I also have a 3D printed Aldi quarter. Now, this works. I've used it before and it is effective, and it serves the exact same purpose as the quarter minus the spending part. You just stick this into the shopping cart. It will unlock it for you. And then when you go back and you go to lock the cart back up, this will pop out again. So I think this is very, very useful. It's two-tone. It doesn't have to be. I just decided to make it black and white. You got the 25-cent logo on there. There's so many different types of these that you can find online, and this one definitely works for me. It also has a hole right there at the tip so that you can attach it to your key ring. So this is something that's very, very useful to have around. I would recommend printing this out of something other than PLA if you want to keep this in your car when you go grocery shopping, just to make sure that the heat of the summer and the humidity and being trapped in that car, it would eventually warp the PLA. So make this out of something like PETG at least, so that it can hold its shape and not deform as easily. But look how thin and small this thing is, and compared to these other items that I've already shown, I mean, all these easily just fit in the palm of my hand. All these can easily fit in your pocket and have all been proven to be pretty useful in what they are meant to do. So that is the dedicated Aldi quarter. Return your shopping carts, people, even if you don't go to Aldi. I mean, it's the right thing to do. All right, so next up, it's the little container that you can store like stuff in. Whatever stuff you want to put in a container, I'm not going to judge you. You just put your little stash in here. All right, so it's not very deep, but there are versions of this that can be bigger if you need it to be. So you can put, let's say, Advil in here if you want. You can fold up a few dollars, put that in here as well, some gum, whatever you want. And it comes with this little lid. easily screws on. And this particular model also has a file for a gasket, like a little O-ring that you could 3D print out a TPU and put it in here so that it could be a little more watertight. But if that's not something that you think that you need, then you can just skip that and just keep this the way that it is. Also has an opening that you can put it on a key ring or a carabiner or something like that, so you can carry this around with you. And it is easy to print. Although for this top part, you might need to put a brim underneath it because there's not too much surface area right here. I tried to print this a couple of times and it kept coming off the bed, but as soon as I put a brim under this, it printed just fine. So a lot of cases that you can print that serve this exact same function, but this one is a pretty decent size, relatively small, but you know, you can still fit a decent amount of things in here as long as you can like fold them up, or maybe if they're just small to begin with. Now, this next thing I've shown before, but it is a clip that you can put on a backpack that you can also hang a hat on, like a baseball cap. So if you weren't going to wear the hat and you didn't want to carry the hat, then you would use this and clip this on your backpack and then clip the other end to your hat. And then you can just walk around with your hat being secured. I printed this a long time ago out of ASA, and it's still in the same condition that it was when I printed it. So this can be really useful if you're going to be spending some time outdoors. And last but not least, something for people who may not want to go around touching all the surfaces that other people have been touching. And that's what this little tool here is for. You can clip it to your key ring, just like pretty much everything else I've shown here today, but it's got this little handle on it. And you can use this handle to do things such as press elevator buttons, or if there are drawers that you need to open but you don't want to touch the handle, then you would just use this to grab the handle and then pull it towards you. You can also use this to flush toilets. You can use this to open up cabinets, you know, not just the sliding ones, but the ones that you reach up and it's got a handle and you can pull that towards you. This is not big enough to open up like a door handle, like a circular doorknob, but basically anything that you might not feel too comfortable touching on your own. You know, say you're in a hotel, you need to use the phone, you don't want to touch the buttons on the phone, you bring this thing out and have it dial the buttons for you. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be a full-blown germaphobe to find some kind of use in this. I mean, because surfaces can be extremely filthy. You know, people don't wash their hands, probably the same people who don't return their shopping carts. So if you wanted to keep this on you just for those really high traffic areas and you're like, you know, maybe you don't like where you are. You have to pull over the side of the road. You're at that gas station bathroom. You're like, I don't know if I want to. But if you got something like this on you, then you can just touch what you need to touch and then just keep it moving. All right. So this was really more fun to me, and that's why I printed out. But hey, I know there's people out there that are really, really finicky about the things that they touch. So maybe this will be right up your alley. So there you go. A handful of everyday carry items that you can 3D print that are easy to print. None of these require supports. And I think that each of them have their own nice, unique uses for everyday life. All right. So like I said before, there's plenty more things like this that you can find online. It's just a handful that I want to show you today. But it would be awesome if down in the comments, you can let us know what type of everyday carry items that you have that are 3D printed. Or maybe it's some things that you haven't been able to find that you wish you could find that can be 3D printed. I think that would be just as interesting. But I'm going to make sure to leave links to these in the description as best I can. Hopefully everything is still around and that's where you can find them. But like I said, even if they aren't, there are alternatives to all of these things that you can find them pretty easily. So that's going to do it for now. Until next time, take care of yourselves and I'll speak to you soon.